Once upon a time,
What about tomorrow morning?
a lucky kid like you got the Scholastic Video Collection. A collection of videos based on award-winning picture books by the most beloved authors.
Oh, boy!
These stories are filled with adventure, action, mystery, learning, and lots of fun. Get the stories kids love. The Scholastic Video Collection, available now at stores everywhere. So, what are you waiting for? Miss Nelson has a field day. For some weeks now, gloom had blanketed the Horace B. Smedley School. No one laughed or threw spitballs. No one even smiled. Miss Nelson was worried. Everyone was down in the dumps. Even the cafeteria ladies had lost their sparkle. Mr. Blansworth was so depressed, he hid under his desk. "It's the worst team in the whole state," he said. And it was true. The Smedley Tornadoes were just pitiful. They hadn't won a game all year. They hadn't scored even a single point. And lately, they seemed only interested in horsing around and in giving Coach the business. "Why practice?" they said. "We'll only lose anyway." "We're in for it now," said old Pop Hansen, the janitor. "The big Thanksgiving game is coming up, and the werewolves from Central are real animals. They'll make mincemeat out of our team." "What's to be done?" said Miss Nelson. "We need a real expert," said Pop. That afternoon, while Miss Nelson was grading papers, she heard wild laughter. It was coming from the teacher's lounge. Coach Armstrong had cracked up. "I'll make us a fresh pot of coffee," said Miss Nelson. When Coach had calmed down, Miss Nelson took him home in a taxi. "You need a nice long rest," she said.
Attention, students. There will be no football practice today. Coach Armstrong will be out for a long time with the measles.
Who will take his place? Said the kids. When Miss Nelson passed by Lulu's after school, a serious discussion was going on. We need someone who can really get the team into shape for the big Thanksgiving game, said one kid. Someone who knows how to get results. It's too bad Miss Viola Swamp isn't around. Who? Said a kid who was new in town. Huh, you've never heard of Viola Swamp? The meanest substitute in the whole wide world? She's a real witch. She'd have no trouble getting results. Mr. Blandsworth happened to overhear. He said. Said Miss Nelson. And she wasted no time getting home. After rummaging around in her closet, she found what she was looking for. An ugly black sweatsuit. Then she made an important phone call. "I'll be right there," said the voice on the other end.
Attention, students. There will be football practice today as usual. A special substitute will be filling in for Coach Armstrong.
"Whoever it is," said the guys, "let's really give them the business." The doors to Coach's office flew open, and out stepped a lady in an ugly black dress.
My name is Viola Swamp,
said the lady,
and I am here to get results.
"It's Blandsworth!" "Oh, rats," said Blandsworth. "How could they tell?" Just then, the guys heard the sound of squeaky tennis shoes. "I am Coach Swamp," said the lady in the black sweatsuit. "Holy smoke!" cried the team. "The swamp!" The team's fullback tried to pussyfoot away. "Not so fast, Mr. Smarty," said Coach Swamp. "Wow! Did you see that tackle?" Coach Swamp was a real expert. She put the team to work right away. The guys had never done so many leg raises. "More!" said Coach Swamp. They had never run so fast. "Faster!" yelled Coach Swamp. "This is murder!" said the guys. "Pipe down!" said Coach Swamp.
Let's go! Come on, pick it up! Let's look lively out there! Give me more! I want to see more!
In only a matter of days, the Smedley Tornadoes were looking better. Coach Swamp really gave them the business. Mr. Blandsworth was a little puzzled, however.
Who is that, Miss Swamp?" he said. "Maybe Miss Nelson knows. I'll go ask."
Miss Nelson was busy grading papers when Blandsworth looked in.
I don't want to disturb her, said Blandsworth. She probably doesn't know anyway.
Down on the field, Coach Swamp was having a little talk with the team.
And don't ever think you can horse around again, she said, because the swamp will be watching.
When Coach Armstrong returned after his rest, he was very surprised by what he found. The guys played like a real team.
How did this happen?
Said Coach Armstrong. Said the guys.
Medley, tornadoes, go, go, go! We're number one, can't be number two. We're gonna beat the whoopsies out of you.
On Thanksgiving Day, the Tornadoes clobbered the Werewolves 77-3. It was a great day for the Horace B. Smedley School. Mr. Blandsworth treated the whole team to hot dogs at Lulu's. Miss Nelson went home tired and happy. Sometimes you just have to get tough, she told her sister Barbara. And by the way, thanks for filling in for me. Anytime, said Barbara. Anytime. Miss Nelson is back. One Friday, Miss Nelson told her class that she was going to have her tonsils out. "I'll be away next week," she said, "and I expect you to behave,"
Yes, Miss Nelson.
said the kids in 207. But at recess, it was another story. "Wow," said the kids. "While Miss Nelson is away, we can really act up." "Not so fast," said a big kid from 309. "Haven't you ever heard of Viola Swamp?" "Who?" said Miss Nelson's kids. "Miss Swamp is the meanest substitute in the whole world," said the big kid. Nobody acts up when she's around. Ooh, said Miss Nelson's kids. She's a real witch, said the big kid. Ooh, said Miss Nelson's kids. I'll just bet you get the swamp, said the big kid. On Monday morning, Miss Nelson's kids were all in their seats. They were very nervous. Some of them had not slept well all weekend. If we get the swamp, I'll just die, said one kid. They heard footsteps in the hall. Slowly, the knob turned, and the door opened. It was Mr. Blansworth, the principal. I shall personally take over this class, he said. Miss Nelson's kids were so relieved. But they soon learned that Mr. Blansworth was not a lot of fun. All morning, Mr. Blansworth tried to amuse the class with his corny card tricks. Oh, brother, said the class. Woof, woof. That afternoon, Mr. Blansworth showed the class his favorite shadow pictures. Woof, woof, woof. This is kid stuff, said the class. Tweet, tweet, caw, caw. The next day, Mr. Blansworth demonstrated his favorite bird calls. Honk, cock-a-doodle-doo. They were not a success. Hoo, hoo, bacaw, bacaw. And for 2 days, Mr. Blansworth showed slides of his goldfish, Lucille. Miss Nelson's kids had never been so bored. While dusting erasers in the schoolyard, 3 of the ringleaders of 207 discussed the situation. Something will have to be done, they said. We must get rid of Blansworth. And they hatched a plot. After school, they painted and sewed and borrowed some old clothes. And they practiced some very difficult stunt work in the backyard. The next day, they weren't in class. That's too bad, said Mr. Blansworth. They'll miss all the excitement. Mr. Blansworth was about to show the class his collection of ballpoint pens from all over the world when someone came to the door. Slowly, the knob turned, and the door opened. Oh, look, said the class. Miss Nelson is back. A tall and lumpy Miss Nelson tottered into the room. Mr. Blansworth was surprised. You're back sooner than we expected, he said. The tall and lumpy Miss Nelson didn't speak. Said the kids. Her throat must still be sore. Are you sure you're well enough? Said Mr. Blansworth. She's sure, said the kids. Well, in that case, said the principal, I'll be getting back to the office. Nice to have you back, Miss Nelson. And he left the room. Hot dog! cried the class. We got rid of Blandsworth. Now we can do just as we please. And at the stroke of 10, the kids from 207 left the building. No one stopped them. They went straight to the movies, where they saw The Monster That Ate Chicago twice. This is really living, they said. Afterward, they went to Lulu's, where they stuffed themselves silly. But soon, they made a serious mistake. Heading back to school, they passed Miss Nelson's house. Miss Nelson couldn't believe her eyes. "Those are my kids," she said in a scratchy voice. "What are they doing out of school? And who is that with them?" Miss Nelson telephoned Mr. Blandsworth to see what was going on. "You're not Miss Nelson," said Blandsworth. "Miss Nelson is back." And he hung up. "Can't fool me," he said. Said Miss Nelson. "Something will have to be done." And she went to her closet. Back in 207, Miss Nelson's kids were spending an agreeable afternoon. They were very pleased with themselves. "We should do this more often," they said. They did not notice the figure out in the hall. Slowly, the knob turned, and the door opened. "My name is Viola Swamp," said the lady in a scratchy voice. "Yipes!" cried the kids. "The Swamp!" "That's right," said Miss Swamp. "And I'm here to whip this class into shape. Get back to those desks on the double." The class did as it was told. The big kid from 309 was certainly right. Miss Swamp was a real witch. She knew how to get results. The class did a whole week's work in no time. "We shouldn't have gotten rid of Blandsworth," they said. "Pipe down," said the Swamp, "or..." Just then, something under a desk attracted her attention. It was a mask. "Aha!" said Miss Swamp. "So that's your little game." And she tried on the mask just as Mr. Blandsworth stepped into the room. "Miss Nelson," said Blandsworth, "I'm of the opinion that someone has been impersonating you." "Uh-oh," whispered the kids. "You don't say," said Miss Swamp. "Probably just some kids acting up. I'm sure it won't happen again." And Mr. Blandsworth left. "And it won't, will it?" said Miss Swamp to the class. "Because the Swamp will be watching." A minute later, Miss Nelson appeared. "I'm back," she said. "Hot dog!" cried the kids. "Are we glad to see you!" "Didn't you have fun with Mr. Blandsworth?" asked Miss Nelson. Said the kids. They decided not to mention Miss Viola Swamp. But they wondered why Miss Nelson hadn't seen her in the hall.
Panama. Once upon a time, there was a little bear and a little tiger. They lived in a cozy little cottage by the river, next to a big tree.
Aren't we lucky? Because we have everything we want, and we don't have to be afraid of anything, because we're very strong. Isn't that true, Bear?
Sure. I am as strong as a bear, and you are as strong as a tiger. That's all we need.
Every day, the little bear went fishing, and the little tiger went to the woods to pick mushrooms. The little bear made dinner every night because he liked to cook.
Would you like your fish with salt and pepper, Mr. Tiger, or with some onions and beans?
With everything, please. And a big helping, too.
The little bear and the little tiger were very happy. Then one day, a wooden crate floated by on the river.
Ooh, I smell bananas. Panama. This crate comes from Panama, and the whole country smells of bananas. Oh, Panama is the land of my dreams.
He ran home and told the little tiger about Panama until late into the night.
In Panama, everything is more beautiful, you know. Everywhere you go, it smells just like bananas. Panama is the land of our dreams. We must leave for Panama tomorrow. What do you say, Tiger?
Yes, tomorrow. Because we don't have to be afraid of anything, Bear. But my tiger duck has to come along, too.
They started out early the next morning.
To find our way, we'll need a road sign. I will make one from the crate.
Then he put on his hat and off they went, following the road sign along the river. Soon they met a mouse digging a hole.
Hello, Mouse. We are on our way to Panama, where everything is beautiful and much bigger.
Bigger than my mouse hole? That just can't be.
Ha! What do mice know about Panama? Nothing. Let's go on.
Soon they came upon an old fox. He was about to cook a goose for his birthday dinner.
Can you tell us the way to Panama?
Somewhere off to your left, that way.
But all the fox really cared about was his dinner. Then they asked a cow. She didn't know either.
Moo. To the left. On the right is where the farmer lives. And where he lives can't be Panama.
But left was wrong again, because they'd be going around in a circle and end up right where they started from. In the evening, they met a hare and a hedgehog bringing grain from their field.
Good evening. You two look very tired. Come home with us. You can spend the night at our house.
It is nice of you to invite us into your home and to allow us to sit on this wonderful soft sofa. Isn't this sofa nice, Tiger? A sofa like this is just what I've always wanted.
Me too. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. In Panama, we will have a sofa just like this one. Then we will have everything we want, right?
Yes. Indeed we will. Panama is the land of our dreams because the whole country smells just like bananas.
We've never been any further than to the other end of our field. Until today, the field has always been our dreamland because that is where the grain grows that we eat. But from now on, we'll call our dreamland Panama. Oh, how nice is Panama, isn't it, Hedgehog?
All night long, they dreamed of Panama. The next morning, they came to a river.
I'll make us a raft to get across.
It's a beautiful raft. With a good friend like you, I don't have to be afraid of anything.
They pulled the raft into the river and floated to the other side. And there they continued to walk along the riverbank.
You can follow behind me because I know the way to Panama.
Then we don't have to be afraid of anything.
Soon they came to a little bridge. It had tumbled down.
We'll have to repair the bridge. You lift the plank from underneath. Slowly now, Bear. Watch out for my tiger duck.
On the other side of the bridge, they met a crow.
Birds are not dumb.
So Bear asked her which way to Panama.
What way? There are many, many ways.
The way to our dreamland.
That land I can show you.
The crow swooped up to the branch of a tall tree and then flew higher and higher. The bear and the tiger climbed up after her.
There it is.
And with her wings, she pointed all around.
Oh, how very beautiful, isn't it, Bear?
Yes, it is beautiful. At last we found the land of our dreams.
And there was the land, and the river, and the house where they had always lived. But they had never seen it from up there before.
Ooh, that must be Panama. Come on, let's hurry, Bear. We'll build a small, cozy house with a chimney because we don't have to be afraid of anything.
After a while, they came upon a road sign laying in the grass.
What do you see, Tiger?
Where? Pear, way.
Wrong.
Cakes.
No, you dummy. Panama. Panama. We are in Panama, the land of our dreams.
They danced joyfully. Then on they walked until they came to a little run-down house with a chimney.
Ooh, Tiger, a house. A wonderful, beautiful, lovely house with a chimney. It's the most beautiful house in the whole world. How quiet and cozy it is here, Tiger. Just listen.
The wind and the rain had taken their toll on the little house, so they did not recognize it. The trees and shrubs had grown bigger. The grass was taller.
Here, everything is much bigger, Bear. Panama is wonderful, marvelously beautiful, isn't it?
Then they began to repair the house. The little bear fixed the door and the window and put on a new roof. They made the garden as pretty as before. The little bear went fishing. The little tiger picked mushrooms. They even got a cozy, soft sofa.
Ooh, tiger. Aren't we lucky to have found our way to Panama?
Yes. This is the most beautiful place in the whole wide world.
There was once an old tabby cat called Tom, who longed to prowl around the world. He longed to see hills and valleys and wild, mysterious woods as well. He longed to see the sea. But Tom was a three-legged cat. Prowling was difficult with only 3 legs. What he was good at was curling up neatly, wrapping his tabby tail around himself, and going to sleep. As he slept, though, he dreamed of the wide world, and his 3 paws twitched. Tom lived with short-sighted Mrs. Gimble of number 7 Cardamom Street. She was a most respectable widow. She liked cats, but she liked them best when they curled up and slept. It bothered her to see Tom running all dot and go carry one whenever she opened the fridge. "You'll eat me out of house and home," she said. She wanted a cat who would stay put and eat nothing. She certainly didn't want a prowler.
Meow.
"One prowler in the family is quite enough," said Mrs. Gimble, for she had a rascally, roving swagman brother called Cyril. All year he prowled up hill and down and around the in and out edges of the world, wearing his revolting, molting Russian hat to keep his bald head warm. Once a year he would look in at number 7 Cardamom Street for a cup of tea and a bit of a chinwag. Oh dear, Mrs. Gimble knew the neighbours would be watching as that revolting, molting Russian hat came up the street and turned in at her gate. "Yes," she grumbled to Tom, "one prowler is more than enough." Tom wrapped himself around with his own tabby tail. He dreamed of prowling beside the sea. In his dream, the sea was pink and fizzy. He dreamed of forests and fields of sheep. In his dream, the forests were no higher than hedges, and the sheep ran about like woolly hedgehogs. "Thank goodness Tom isn't one of those prowling cats," thought Mrs. Gimble. "I'm glad he has only 3 legs." Then she heard a familiar step on the path. Horror Kapochkin! A molting, revolting Russian hat was coming up the path to her door. It was Cyril the swagman. What would the neighbours say? Knock, knock, went the door. "Hello, Daisy! How about a cup of tea and a bit of a chinwag?" cried Cyril. "Oh, Cyril, it's lovely to see you. But why don't you curl up and settle down?" Mrs. Gimble said. As she poured a cup of tea for her brother, she wept into the teapot. "Don't cry into my tea, Daisy. I take sugar, not salt," said Cyril. "But perhaps you're right. I love prowling the world, but my hat has molted badly. Somehow it doesn't keep my head as warm as it used to. It's not much fun prowling about with a bald head when it's cold. Perhaps I should settle down. Once more around the world, and then I'll think about it. Mrs. Gimble was looking anxiously out of the window. Her neighbours didn't prowl, but they did pry. Suppose they see there's a swagman sitting in here having a cup of tea and a bit of a chinwag, she thought. Hastily, she drew the curtains. As Cyril poured tea into his saucer so that it would cool quickly, Mrs. Gimble told him all about a new furniture polish she had discovered in a sale. And Cyril told her how to prowl successfully during earthquakes. But Mrs. Gimble hated the idea of earthquakes, and Cyril, who had no furniture, was not the least bit interested in furniture polish. Well, time to be on my way, Cyril said at last. He picked up his hat. But it wasn't his hat. He put on his hat. But it wasn't his hat. Out into the street he strolled, wearing Tom, the three-legged cat, curled around his bald head, sound asleep. "Goodbye, old girl," he called to Mrs. Gimble. "I'll be back this time next year for a cup of tea and a bit of a chinwag." And off went Cyril the swagman, and with him went Tom, the three-legged cat. "My hat is deliciously warm," Cyril thought as he marched down the road. "My bald head feels so cozy I could prowl all the way around the world wearing a hat as warm as this." Tom the cat woke to find he was wrapped snugly around a bald head and riding down the road. There, right in front of him, was the beginning of the country. He saw hedges, he saw hogs, he even saw hedgehogs, and fields full of sheep. The world stretched all the way to the edge of the sky. "I'm seeing the wide world at last," Tom thought in amazement. He wrapped his tabby tail more firmly around Cyril's ears. "The wide world is so much wider than I thought it was." "This hat is so much warmer than I thought it was," muttered Cyril the swagman, walking up and over a hill. Then Tom the cat saw the sea for the first time. It was not pink, it was green. It was not fizzy, it rolled backwards and forwards all the way around the world. The sea, thought Tom the cat. "I am seeing the sea." He began to purr. "My hat is purring," thought Cyril the swagman. "It's never purred before." A tabby tail twitched in front of his eyes. "Horror Kapotchkin! I've carried off Daisy's three-legged cat," cried Cyril the swagman. "It's just as well I have enough sausages for the two of us." Meanwhile, back at number 7 Cardamom Street, Mrs. Gimble was sitting by the fire, stroking the hat. It sat very still, and when she opened the fridge, the hat did not stir. It just sat there, molting slightly. "My cat is suddenly cheap to feed," thought Mrs. Gimble. The hat did not show the least bit of interest, even when she ate her own fish dinner. And out in the wide world, Cyril and Tom were sharing the sausages. "I won't settle down after all," said Cyril the swagman, stroking Tom. "You can curl around my bald head and keep it cozy, while I do the prowling for both of us. I've never had a better hat than a furry, friendly, three-legged cat." "And I've never had a better cat," said Mrs. Gimble, stroking the Russian hat tenderly. "It's true that it molts, but we all have our faults, and it's cheap to keep, and always asleep." The wide world beckoned, Tom purred. The hat just sat on Mrs. Gimble's lap. And everyone lived happily ever after.
I'm Jim Marshall, and I guess the first thing you should know about me is that I was born in Texas. I was born in the very beautiful old city of San Antonio. I was born practically in the Alamo, which is this building right here. So I'm about as Texan as you can get. And I try to put a little bit of Texas in every book I do. I put the foliage, I put the farm I grew up on, I put my school in. I liked my school a lot. I put my teacher, my favorite teacher, she pops up quite a lot, and every so often I put in my least favorite teacher. I come from a typical family: mother, father, baby sister, and me. In Texas, it always seemed to be summer. When I was growing up, it was in the middle of this famous 7-year drought. Actually, it lasted a lot longer than 7 years. And the world was very brown, dusty, bone dry. So I grew up in a sort of colorless childhood. Only things that grew out on our farm were a few pathetic zinnias. I sketch usually from ideas that come out of my head. Everything I see has to sort of filter through my imagination. Doing the kind of work I do, which is doing series often of the same characters, the important thing is to try and keep it fresh. And for me, I want to change the characters. The eyes are very, very important, the expression in the eyes. And I notice the more I look at kids, I just don't draw the same face. It sort of looks the same because I got this style that's obviously mine. But the expression in the eyes, I can draw really bratty kids now. I'm getting very good at kids who are up to no good. Bulldogs are great to do, those big, sort of stupid, loving eyes. I always had lots of bulldogs, and they're wonderful characters. I think, though, most of my animal characters are really just humans dressed up as animals, if you know what I mean. For many, many years, I worked at a kitchen table, a very rickety kitchen table. And always in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted a real studio, an artist studio. I guess I thought that would make me more of an artist if I got one. I loved looking at pictures of studios. Picasso's studio, for instance, fascinated me. And finally, lo and behold, I got a real studio. This is my very first studio. And for about a year, I couldn't work in it. I was very intimidated. I had to go back downstairs and work at the kitchen table because I felt comfortable there. My studio is in my attic. As a kid, I used to love attics. They're very enchanted, poetic places for me. I guess attics are everybody likes an attic, I guess, as opposed to basements. My basement is very creepy, and I don't like to go down into it. I'm told a big black snake lives down there. Anyway, I have the best of two worlds. I have my attic studio, which I find it's very cozy and snug up here. And I have all the things I love up here, my favorite books, and drawers full of sketchbooks. when I was in the second grade, I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be an artist very badly, and I thought I was pretty good. I went to school in Texas, and I remember it was a very hot May afternoon. If you've ever been in San Antonio, Texas in May, you know what hot is about. And in the afternoon, we were all so tired, the only thing we could do was sit around and draw. And I thought I was drawing one of the most beautiful pictures of a pecan tree. I thought I was a little baby Picasso. And suddenly, from behind me, I heard laughing. Hysterical, rather witch-like laughing, and a long, skinny arm with long black fingernails came across my shoulder and tapped my drawing. It was my teacher. She said, "Jimmy, you will never be an artist. That is the worst drawing I've ever seen." Well, I remember dropping my little lime green Crayola at the time, and I didn't draw again for over 20 years. I started drawing when I was teaching school. Teaching school is a very, very hard job. And I would come home, and to relax, and to unwind, I would start drawing. I was in my late 20s when I guess, taught myself to draw. And I drew you-know-who, and it looks exactly like her. But I often tell kids, I say, if you're having trouble disciplining your teacher, that's often very hard to do. I tell them, now, you just tell that teacher, now listen here, one of these days I'm going to grow up, I'm going to be an artist, and a writer, and I'm going to put you in a book, and they'll shape up right away.